All right, Shalom. First off, all praises, admiration, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Hakodash, and double honor to the apostles and the elders of Green Millstone. All right, first off, I want to say Shalom to the ones that push this word out in truth and in sincerity, which are the apostles and elders on down to the brothers. All right, and Shalom to the ones that endure this faith until the very end, until the time of Jacob's troubles, which are again the apostles and elders on down to the brothers and a few sisters. All right, so Shalom. So I want to do this, quick video. Um, something I've been thinking about for a little bit. Just looked into this just a little bit, right? Um, so the question here I put is, when did children start being forced to go to school, right? Because he was on a topic yesterday. For some reason, there was still people, in school, and it's already late. Well, late this month, right? Late June. So it says compulsory education laws began in the U.S. when Massachusetts passed the first statewide mandatory schooling law back in 1852. Right now, we know where this time period is. Right, this was still during slavery. Right, this was this is around like what, the Civil War, somewhere around there, probably even before that. Um, Slavery was still a thing, right? In fact, we're still in slavery, right? Now, they put children, you already know they put children around that time. They started putting them into, forcing them into schools for, their next step of the plan, right? The indoctrination, right? That Jesus Christ has already been painted, right? So they put them in the schools for what? That indoctrination that they put on us, right? I did a video, I think 2 years ago now, about the school lunch and what they do with that, right? They're gearing them up for military, right? They fully indoctrinate them, with this society's culture. And what they're doing today is they're trying to do away with, talking about slavery or anything like that, right? They're trying to push the propagandas, if you know what I'm talking about, the alphabet propagandas on these children, which they are. It's getting bad out here, right? So another thing I looked up, um, was Massachusetts a slave state? And right here it says yes, Massachusetts had slaves. In fact, it was the first English colony to legalize slavery in 1641. So you can see where it's getting hand in hand here, right? They were the first ones, apparently, to legalize slavery, and they were the first to enforce school, right? To put these children, in these concentration camps, right? To have you set up to be a good slave in the society, right? During the time of slavery, right? So again, you can see what they've been doing. They start with the schooling programs and then they work their way up to the colleges, right? To the, to work, right? To fully indoctrinate you and keep you, you know, pretty much distracted, to keep you busy, right? What did they do? What did the Pharaoh do, right? Back in Egypt, right? Had the women overworked, right? No, I had the men overworked, really men and women. And that's what they're doing today, having them overworked. They can't procreate because you already know that's their main agenda, to stop them from procreation. So again, this is going to be a quick video based on that. It says, this is Matthew 24:9. It says, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted. Right now, this is talking about, these other camps, right? Or even these people out here. They would deliver you up in the last days to be afflicted, right? But this can go hand in hand as well. It says, Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you. Not always meaning, literally killing you. The elder went into that, that also means spiritually killing. It says, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Right? So they deliver our people up to these, these plantations pretty much. Right? These concentration camps. These schools were built to be concentration camps. And in the last days, man, the days to come, right, the time of Jacob's troubles, man, they're going to be using those schools as torture camps. You already know. They're probably going to be stations for that rice grain that go on your right hand or your forehead, most likely. In fact, just to even go to school, they will require that. You already know that's coming, right? That object that they're going to input into you is not just a banking system, right? It's not just a currency. That's control, right? It being a money currency is, the main thing, but that is control, right? To mark you as cattle. And they've been marking people as cattle ever since they be born, right? What happens when you go to school? You graduate, even before you graduate, they got your records, right? You don't go to school, they pull up at your house, right? They have your records, man. That's why I say before, man, there is no such thing as going off the grid. If you're born with a social security number, you're a slave. If you got to go to school, you're a slave. You got to go to work, you're a slave. Right? Your birth certificate is in all capitals, like a slave. So these schools, the work system is all concentration camps, right? But what did the Lord say? This is Romans 13:1. It says, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, but there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of Yahweh, right? So even though, they set up these school systems, man, you still got to go, right? They set up work, you still got to go, right? You still have to, here's the thing. The Lord had stuff like this be set up, right? These schools for our punishment, right? As a child, you ain't getting away with it as a child. That's actually you think about it, that's a good point right there. Because the Lord isn't about that, oh, you're a child, you're safe from this, you're safe from that. Children first, women and children first. No. Right? As a child, you gotta suffer and being indoctrinated and distracted by going into this concentration camp every day. You become an adult. You gotta do the same thing, but even more. Right? So there is no separation with that, man. This man has built this society for our punishment, right? Really, the Lord has created this society for our punishment. And he's doing it through who? The rulers of darkness, man, the ones that run this society. So we got to go in these concentrations and suffer. And the last days, man, those same concentrations that they use for children are going to be used for torture on them stations. So by the Lord's word, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash, and Shalom.